Singer for Star Playhouse presents Dick Powell, Charles Boyer, David Niven, Ida Lupino.
Lovely.
And this one's for your hair.
You like my hair better this way?
Yes, it's even prettier than yesterday. That flower in the dark of your eyes is quite lovely. Don't fidget, it's only my wife.
I'm awfully sorry, darling, but we're all out of bread. Sorry we're so disorganized this morning, Mr. Ronald, but we overslept.
How am I supposed to paint her happily munching golden brown toast made of Bascom's bread when we don't have any bread? I've lost the prop toast. I want some breakfast anyway.
Darling, I sent for you for some.
Oh, you look at that blasted sign. You might think somebody had asked it to go shining all over the place. Now then, same thing as yesterday, your Bascom's Little Bride in the Breakfast in Bed series. You're supposed to try and look as though you only married the man because he promised to keep you in Bascom's as long as you both shall live.
How'll you have it? Light or dark?
Only have it light or burnt, you mean? Well, give her the burnt stuff. She doesn't have to eat it.
Good.
So is Bascom's, sun-ripened, vitality-enriched bread.
Only this is Benning's. Frida won't buy Bascom's.
I have to find things by my best accounts.
Crackle cereals next. They want a little boy with no teeth and a happy laugh.
Tell the agency for me, if they send a little boy around here with a happy laugh, I should probably knock his teeth out myself.
You're in a gay mood this morning, aren't you, Pollyanna? What's the matter? Party last night get you down?
I'm my usual calm and collected self. If I wasn't, I might make some rather far-reaching statements about people who drink my coffee. Hey, your expression slipped. You're new at this business, aren't you?
Yes. You're the first artist I've ever met.
Oh, I'm not an artist. I'm just a guy who paints highlights on baked beans.
But you studied in Paris with Popini.
How'd you know about that?
The girl at the agency told me all about you.
Why?
Because I inquired.
Now you're looking sad again.
I guess I just can't help it. I feel so sorry for you. I can understand just how empty all this must seem.
All this what?
Oh, well, when you were studying in Paris, you didn't expect to end up like this.
End up? What kind of a line is that to a boy of my age?
I didn't mean... Well, I think you're terribly young. After all, Rembrandt didn't paint the Night Watch until he was 37, and I can tell, even if I didn't know already, that you're truly a fine artist. By your eyes, for one thing.
Well, maybe the art dealer should have looked at my eyes instead of my paintings.
Oh, you were probably years ahead of your time. Genius always leads the way.
Oh, I don't know about genius.
When your pictures didn't sell, I suppose you grew bitter and gave up trying.
No, nothing so dramatic, but life's too short and art's too long. I got married.
Oh, Andreevsky says marriage is a grave of creative art.
Andreevsky? Oh, Andreevsky, the writer. Well, even when I was a bachelor, I liked to pay the rent occasionally, so one day I painted a glazed ham. But it was so lifelike you could almost smell the raisin sauce. After that, we ate regularly.
Andreevsky says food and comfort are an artist's worst enemies. Now look at Van Gogh. He did his best work when he was practically starving.
You know a great deal about artists.
Well, I found out because I thought you were...
Oh. You came here expecting to meet Van Gogh, and you found the man with the buttered toast, huh?
I didn't mean... Well, I think you're terribly interesting, and after all, an artist has to go through these various cycles. Like me. I expect to be an actress. Germaine Gerard isn't my real name, you know.
Isn't it really?
Mm-mm. It's a stage name I've taken.
That's very pretty. How old are you?
I'll be 20 next month.
20?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when I was 20, I lived in Greenwich Village.
Well, that's where I live. I have this one great big room.
I had a studio couch and a table made out of packing boxes and a Chinese screen. Up all night working, you know, living on coffee and cigarettes. Downstairs there was a French girl who made onion soup. She could make soup out of old lampshades.
We have a Finn who makes meatballs.
Meatballs? Oh, I can smell them now.
Do you want some air?
I'm going to call it a day.
How can you call it a day when it isn't even a morning yet?
If there's one thing I cannot stand, it's a woman being funny early in the morning. Miss Gerard, same time tomorrow, 10 o'clock.
All right, Mr. Hilliard.
20 next month. Nina, do you realize I shall be 34 next month?
Don't look now, dear, but you'll never see 34 again. Nor 35.
Oh, now, wait a minute. 1918, 18 from 55. 2, 3, carriage. Nina,
Yes?
when you were very young, what did you most want to be?
I wanted to be the wife of Chas Hilliard, the famous artist with a sunny disposition.
Oh, you can't say I'm temperamental. Me?
I'll get it. Hello, Alec.
You were both in here working. Working, she said.
Frida can be wrong 93% of the time.
Well, you'd better hop to it because I've got another commission for you. A new account that cries out for the masterful touch of the master.
What is it, Alec?
Well, the Haskell Pie people are giving Chaz their profits for the next 10 years. Just for 3 views of a lemon meringue pie.
I can be pushed too far. Who's pushing? Look at me. 30, whatever it is, next month, and what have I accomplished? Nothing.
Don't laugh. Men are dying here.
I knew I could expect no understanding from you two. As Andreevsky said, food and comfort are the artist's greatest enemy.
Who's Andreevsky?
No wonder I can do nothing creative around here when all I see from morning to night is food. Food, food, more food. Well, I'm fed up. You tell them they can get somebody else to do their bread and their prunes and their lemon meringue pie.
Mr. Hilliard.
Well, there you are. I just dropped by. I was down here in the village sketching. I just dropped by.
I was just practicing my dancing. Andreevsky says it's an artist's first duty to keep fit.
I must say, you certainly look very fit. Hold that, will you? Just like that. Do you mind if I do some work now?
No.
Hold it. That same pose. Oh, that's great.
If you were to do my portrait, it would hang in an art gallery, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think you ought to do?
Mm-hmm.
What?
What?
I don't think you're listening to me.
My dear, it's a full-time job just looking at you. You can't expect me to listen to you as well.
Please listen, because this is really a wonderful idea, and you owe it to your public to do it.
Mm-hmm. Nina! Oh, Nina. I've got a wonderful idea. I'm going to enter for the Stanhope.
The Stanhope? That's for oil paintings.
Yeah, I know. I haven't worked in oils for a long time, but I got a wonderful theme. And today I did some sketching. Some of the best work I've done in years. Now, look, I had to enter by the 15th. So I thought we might go up to the island. I could work there without being interrupted.
Our little island?
Who else is little island?
But Chaz, Maine in April. We'll freeze. Place is in a terrible mess, probably. We haven't been up there since Ed had the painters in.
Well, you can go on ahead and put the place into shape in a couple of hours. Germaine and I will follow. I thought we might go up the day after tomorrow.
You're, painting Miss Gerard for the Stanhope?
Yeah, she's been a great help. She thinks I'm a cinch.
I think you're a cinch, too. What about Bascom's and Pepperell Prunes?
Oh, the clients. Yeah. Well, I'll call Harry and tell him to put them off. I'll do it while I'm dressing. We all eat too much anyway.
Well, you'll have to learn to give up eating entirely if you don't put your brains back on pretty soon. The lemon meringue people aren't going to like this. Bread and beans people are blood brothers. These things get around.
Look, you're my blood brother, too. At least you act that way when payday comes around. If I gotta have this time to myself, I gotta have it, see? Goodbye.
Alec, don't hang up. It's me.
What goes with Chaz, anyway?
He's been down in the village again looking at Miss Gerard and talking about when he was 20. What I want to know is, when does a man stop looking at a pretty girl and start acting 20?
Nina, Chaz was pretty happy with his success until somebody told him he wasn't Rembrandt, wasn't he?
Yes?
Well, are we going to let him throw it all away? Just while he's under the influence of this little village idiot?
No. No. Now, look. You tell Bread and Butter that Chaz has the flu, but he'll be back to work in a week.
That's better. But how are you going to get him okay in a week?
I don't know yet. Figure it out.
Imagine owning a whole island, master of all you survey.
Hey, there's no smoke coming out of the chimney.
So?
So, well, there's no smoke, there's lava, there'll be no fire. What time did you say you brought my wife and Mr. Weston over?
I haven't seen him. I got her wired yesterday, and I was waiting to bring her over when she came.
They were supposed to be here hours ago. Dump that stuff and go back and wait for her.
Yes, sir.
Oh, how cute.
Yes, it's wonderful, isn't it? Well, we'll soon get a fire going, and then we'll have a couple of drinks to warm ourselves up. Yeah, oh, those blasted painters. Would you look at this? It's supposed to be a nice, light spring green. Looks like the tail end of the hurricane season. Now, what would you like? Rum? Gin? Bourbon? Scotch? You know what's happened? Those colorblind morons have cleaned out my liquor supply.
Well, there's nothing on the food shelves either, just one bottle of pickled beets.
Pickled beets, huh? Maybe they don't like pickled beets. I don't like pickled beets either. Wait till I find that Ed Harper. He was supposed to have kept an eye on them. And where's Nina? Oh, this is too ridiculous. Well, let's make ourselves comfortable, and later on we'll go over to the landing and get some dinner and some supplies. About time. Where have you been?
The car just up and died outside of Quog's Neck. Had to be towed.
How did it up and die? It's a brand new car. It's much too young to die. And Nina, what about these blasted painters of yours? Look. Not only have they stolen everything in the house, but they've covered the place in thick black mud.
Oh, Chaz, how awful. Well, we'll just have to go into town first thing in the morning and stock up.
First thing in the morning. Germaine and I haven't had our dinner yet. We're going into town tonight to do our stocking up. Germaine, I'll go and get the launch ready. It'll take a few minutes. I'll whistle when everything's all set.
Maybe Chaz has forgotten how to whistle.
Hey, the boat's gone. The boathouse was open and the launch and that leaky little rowboat could not be more gone. Nina, what sort of painters did you let loose in here anyway?
I got them through Ed Harper. Very reliable young men, he said, from California. They've gone back.
They've evidently gone back by boat, loaded to the gills with our supplies. I shall have to hoist the emergency signal for Ed.
It's almost dark. Think they'll see it?
Isn't there any way we can get off this island?
Only if you can swim in a very peculiar tide.
Don't boats come by?
Not very many. We're way off the beaten channel.
I'll hoist it so Ed can see it.
Is that a storm coming up?
Probably my stomach complaining.
Poor Charles. But remember, Van Gogh painted his best work on an empty stomach.
A very practical place to paint, considering the price of canvas.
I'm sure Ed will be here almost as soon as it gets light, so why don't we all have some sleep? Jermaine and I can take the bedroom, you fellas can have the bunks. Come on, Jermaine. It'll be kind of fun, won't it? Just like dormitory days.
Hey, upstairs, you.
But Chaz, I'm your guest.
Uninvited. Why don't you stay in town and look after business?
None to look after anymore now that you've decided to go high art.
Why don't you look after Les Raymaster? He paints the most beautiful broccoli.
Rather starve with you.
Please don't use that word.
I wish I'd finished my steak at lunch.
How much did you leave?
Oh, quite a big piece. But we had so much else. Martinis to start with, garlic bread, salad with Roquefort, steak and French fries, asparagus, chocolate eclairs with coffee, and, oh yes, a brandy with the second cup.
What do you plan to do now? Hibernate? It's almost 5 o'clock and the light's beginning to go. Oh, blast that Ed Harper from here to California and back. If I ever catch him, I'll murder him first and then fire him.
Just try to forget it, Charles, and work. He'll see the flag eventually and come for it.
How can I work when I'm starving? And don't tell me again that Van Gogh did his best work when he was hungry. He also lopped off his ears, popped them into brown paper bags, and sent them around to his chums. Come in. It's a fish. Fish on my line.
What's all the shouting for?
Oh, Charles thinks he caught a fish.
Well, I found some berries. Have some.
Some berries are poison, aren't they?
Yes, some berries are. Isn't you, is it? A pretty girl like you could sue.
It's the artist's conception of the turmoil going on inside my soul.
Honey, you must have ulcers. You know, you seem to have done very well as a model.
Oh, you mean this? My father gave it to me. He spends his whole life chasing dollars.
He evidently caught up with a few. So in that case, you don't really know anything about the joys of starving in a cold garret, do you?
Look, I got a whale. Nina, hurry up. Come and start cooking.
I found some apples on the other side of the island.
Apples? I didn't know anything ever grew on those old trees.
Darling, you clean the fish and I'll get the pan ready. Oh, Allie, around in that cove you might find some clams.
Clams? Hey, Jermaine, go and help Allie get the clams. You'll find some rubber boots in the boathouse. Darnest thing, I've been smelling baking bread. Some kind of a nasal mirage, I guess.
Yes, it's done.
But it is bread. Where'd you find it?
Well, down in the boathouse this morning, I found some things left over from a picnic. A box of prepared yeast rolls and some canned milk, and I didn't see why I wouldn't make bread.
Smell it. You just smell this bread. Oh.
I'll give you the heel off of it right away.
Hold it. Don't move. Don't move. I gotta get that. I have to draw that. Here. Oh, this is great. This is wonderful. This is very dramatic. Our daily bread. The woman who baked it. Well, if I can only get the smell of this bread, if I can just get it all in.
I got lost. I didn't have any idea an island could be so big, but Charles, what's that for? Bascom's bread?
Of course it isn't. Chaz, I think it's good.
Charles, I found the lunch.
You couldn't have.
Well, I did. I got lost clamming, and I wandered around and fell over these rotten logs, and there it was. It was tied up next to the rowboat, and it had lots of canned goods and bottles in it.
Now, why on earth would the painters leave it there? Isn't that the strangest thing? Isn't that the strangest thing, Chaz?
Yes, that's very strange. There's a lot of strange things about this whole marooning. Ed not seeing our SOS signal was strange. And painters hiding canned goods are rather peculiar. Alec's brand new car breaking down is odd. Yeast rolls in the boathouse, And finally, apples growing on dead trees. I was so hungry I didn't look at them properly. Where do you say they came from?
On the other side of the island. There were only a few on the trees. No more left.
They look like Washingtons to me, which don't generally grow in Maine and never in April. And even if they did, it's unlikely that they would grow with little pieces of green tissue paper clinging to their stems.
What kind of tissue paper?
The sort of green paper in which they wrap fruit at the vegetable stands. It's strange that you found just enough food to keep us from starving. How much did you pay Ed not to see that signal?
Well, Chaz, you don't think that...
How much?
Well, why would I... $20.
Why?
I wanted to remind you of all the lean years we had. To make you see that food and comfort don't have to be an artist's enemy unless he lets them. And to keep you from ruining yourself for a thing like that.
So you think he'll fail? That he's really not a very good painter?
Chaz, maybe a Rembrandt and Utrilla and Norman Rockwell all rolled up into one. I don't know. I never pretended to be a critic. I'd love you if you painted calendars for barbershops. If there is some goal that you deeply want to work toward, and not because you're just a bit depressed with routine, and well, then work toward it. But it wasn't right for you to chop off all those contracts you'd signed.
I'm not interested in your theories on art. Jerry, show me where the launch is, please.
Chaz, where are you going?
I'm going somewhere where I can finish this in peace and quiet. Probably in Greenwich Village.
Chaz shoved me off the path so hard I sat down some poison oak. How'd they find out?
How was Eve betrayed in the Garden of Eden?
I wish they'd hung me instead.
Charles, you're too modest. It's really wonderful.
It's arty, muddy, pretentious, and altogether a thing of undiluted horror.
You'll feel better when they announce the awards.
I already know who's won the stand-up. Theodore Japes. And well, he deserved it, too. Well, open your eyes. Go and look at his work. And for goodness sake, stop having this blind, idiotic confidence in me.
Well, I do have confidence in you, which is more than your wife has. She isn't even here today.
Only because I didn't invite her to come. Haven't seen her since we left the island.
She just wants you to paint pot boilers.
Pot boilers? Now, you listen to me. Rembrandt painted pot boilers. And you're always yapping to me about his integrity as an artist. He painted advertising signs on the doors of inns and dead fish on the fronts of fishing boats in exchange for live fish to take home and fry for his supper. And his picture, The Night Watch, which makes you drool, was originally done as an advertising poster for the local Chamber of Commerce in Amsterdam. But if that wasn't pot-boiling commercial art, I'd like to know what was. Look at them all. Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Cellini. They worked for sponsors who occasionally flung them a purse of gold. And some of their pot boilers are so good they're with us today, thank goodness. And I'm much more proud of my glazed ham and raisin sauce than I am of this monstrosity. At least it was an honest piece of work.
Congratulations, Chaz. I think it's swell.
Now, just take your hands off me so I can take a good swing at you.
I'd forgot how good you really are, but the judges didn't, and you won. I guess we won't have any trouble getting contracts now. They'll be glad to get you back, if they can.
Teddy Japes has won the stand-up, I know.
Oh, yeah, sure. But you won the Winslow.
The Winslow is for watercolors and drawings. I didn't even enter.
It sure is, boy, and yes, you did. Because you're hanging right there in the winner's room, dripping with blue ribbons.
I'm doing what?
Dripping. Simply dripping.
Winslow. Artist competing for Winslow. 200. 105, Our Daily Bread by Charles Hilliard.
Chaz? I know I didn't have any business entering that. If you hadn't have won, you'd have even been more mad at me than you are. I thought it was the best thing you ever did.
You said you never pretended to be an art critic?
So I was lucky this time. What I said still goes. I'd love you if you painted calendars.
If I wasn't already married, I'd ask you to marry me.
Andreevsky thinks that marriage is the grave of the creative artist.
That's thinking? Come on, let's celebrate.
Oh, I suppose we ought to take her home.
No, let Andrzejewski do it. Oh, wait, I got a better idea. Jermaine, I was looking all over for you. I wanted to thank you so much. You've been the greatest inspiration.
I feel it's my duty to serve art.
I wondered if perhaps you could do the same for Alec here.
Me?
Yes, your writing, Alec, the writing. Grim, stark, realistic stuff. Quite shattering, really, but unfortunately it never sold, so he turned to commerce.
Andrzejewski says commerce is the grave of creative art.
You mustn't believe everything Chaz says. He always exaggerates.
You were probably years ahead of your time. Genius always leads the way.
Well, I don't know about genius.
There, but for the grace of an understanding wife. You know, it's a wonderful thing just once in a while to be able to look at your work and find it not too bad.
Yes, Chaz, it is.